Significant win for Arsenal. 5 points clear, having played a game more than second-place Manchester City, of course. Now, Ash, we know you've won the Premier League, and don't want to remind you on the last day with Michael, you've lost the Premier League. You know both sides of the story. What City did on Saturday night after Arsenal's game at Wolves, how big a response was that from Arsenal when all the questions were being asked?
It was massive. It was huge. Obviously, it being a derby as well. You know, they've obviously seen City win the night before, and you're going into the derby thinking, this is our opportunity. We need to take this opportunity. There's been times throughout the season where they haven't done that, and, you know, they've let teams, you know, get close to them, as City have done, and close the gap. But, you know, for the way they come out and put on a display and won the game, it was so big that they had to win whichever way, getting the 3 points. And the way that they performed, it was all Arsenal, and, you know, they tore Tottenham apart.
Yeah, and as we were lucky enough to be there, you and I, and we talked about that mentality, it was a real challenge of their nerve, wasn't it, in that situation after the Wolves game and then City's win, as Ash says.
And in hindsight, probably the best challenge they could have had. Away in the derby, they had no time to start thinking, right, what if this is the real stuff, they're going to come at us, we're not going to get time to think. And Tottenham did. You know, in the first 5-10 minutes, they really tried to put pressure on. But Arsenal, right from the first whistle, they were brilliant. They popped it about. They hardly give Tottenham a kick in the first 10 minutes. So I thought it was a real good performance, a real marker. They were classy. They outclassed Tottenham in the end, despite Tottenham's endeavours.
So we're looking at a two-horse race. We're looking at City, who, all right, with different players, have been the course before, and Arsenal, obviously, 3 consecutive runners-up spots. How are you seeing it now, with 11 and 10 games to go for these respective clubs?
I think because of the game yesterday and the way that Arsenal put in their performance, I think they're going to take a lot of confidence from that. I think if it was a different result that they got, you know, I think City would be, you know, more and more confident. It's going to be a massive game between the two teams, City and Arsenal. I think it probably does come down to that game. It's just whether Arsenal can keep this confidence going. You know, the North London derby, winning that, getting the 3 points away from home. You know, it's massive. I don't know which way it's going to go, because I think if you look months ago, you would have said City were nowhere near it. Arsenal obviously stalled a little bit, let them back into it, and now it's anyone's.
Well, one of the factors for Arsenal, of many positives, was Viktor Gyökeres, because we've had many discussions on the show about his impact, about where he could go, whether he was the missing man. We were even talking pre-match on the pitch yesterday that he hadn't really scored significant goals in a significant game. You said that it was his best game in an Arsenal shirt. Why? What was different?
I like this lad in so many aspects, but I think he's got so many weaknesses as well. To be Arsenal's centre-forward for the long term, am I getting carried away about just one game? No, I'm not. I still think the questions are out there. What you cannot question with this lad is his work rate. He's a fantastic runner. He times his runs well. He knows where the goal is. He arcs his runs perfectly well to stay onside. And he is lethal in front of goal. He is one of the very best finishers in the Premier League. And, of course, we saw that in no uncertain terms yesterday. Now, with all that, which are the main things, there are some negatives as well. Let's have a look at some of his negatives first. And before we show this clip, or we'll show it first, Ashley, I want to get your take on that. Now, that, as a centre-forward, before we go and see Aston Villa breaking away and nearly scoring, how important as a midfielder, or as a defender for that matter, when you give your centre-forward the ball, is how imperative is it for him to keep it and bring you into play? It's
so imperative. You know, when you're coming out, whether it be a defender, whether it be a midfielder, you know you want your striker to be confident to come down the line of the ball and be able to hold the play up, to then link it and give it to the midfielders to then run off. If you haven't got confidence in your striker that you're giving it into him, that he's not going to hold it, you're not going to start playing the passes, and you're going to be worried that, you know, when he does come down the line of the ball, he's going to get frustrated because you think he's just going to lose the ball. And like you see here, Aston Villa go on the counter-attack, and they're unfortunate. They don't score. Yeah, could and should have been a goal. So his link-up play, Steve, is definitely something. His touch here is fantastic. I watched him in the warm-up. He did that about 3 or 4 times. 5-yard passes. Missed his teammates. It was quite unbelievable. Things that he should really be doing. It should be easy for him. This is an absolutely brilliant position as a centre-forward. That ball coming into you there,
Wow, that should light everybody's eyes up. Look at the runs that you can make off. Anybody can be making runs. Hold the ball up, you're a big, strong centre forward, and lay it off, and all of a sudden, touch like a bit of a trampoline there in his boot, and he gives the ball away again. Again, in this clip, he likes to fight defenders a lot of the time. He's a big, strong lad, and he just needs to get his body in there and take a touch. So there's some of the negatives. He can improve, but what I do love is this. Let's have a quick look at him here. This is him. He works his socks off to try to get the ball back. You know, he came off the pitch yesterday, sweating, grass stains all over him. We were right next to him as he was doing his interviews. He put in the hard yards, and he deserved his goals in the end. So great work rate, great running ability, runs into these channels really well, times his runs great. Arcs his runs really well to stay onside, and then obviously he's got one thing in his mind, and what he has got is deceptive power in his shooting as well. You look at even when he's falling down here, it's the power that beats the goalkeeper. This is just incredible. I mean, his first touch here, let's just watch in slow motion. His first touch needs to be tight enough so the Tottenham, none of those three Tottenham players around him can get the ball, and far enough out of his feet so he can really open up and get a swing at it. It was an absolute beauty. And again here, arcing his run, waiting, using his strength, and that little lift. Centre forwards out there watching this, sometimes when you're going a one-on-one, just that little lift. A goalkeeper comes out, when they spread themselves, their bottom leg normally lies flat to the ground. So even just a yard off the floor is perfect. He actually curled that higher than he needed to, but what a lovely finish. His choice of finishing is exceptional as well, and by and large, he doesn't miss when he's in front of goal.
Micheal Owen delivered a glowing breakdown of Arsenal's commanding 4-1 victory over Tottenham Hotspur in the North London Derby at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium on February 22, 2026, calling it a true masterclass that showcased the Gunners' title credentials. On BT Sport, the former Liverpool and England striker praised Arsenal's ruthless efficiency, tactical discipline, and clinical finishing as they dismantled their rivals and extended their Premier League lead to 5 points. Owen highlighted Bukayo Saka's central number 10 role as transformative. Saka in midfield changes everything. He's got vision, composure, and that killer instinct. His 12th-minute goal set the tone perfectly. He lauded the quick-fire first-half blitz, Gabriel Martinelli's 28th-minute strike on the counter, and Noni Maduk's thunderous drive before halftime, saying, "Arsenal were clinical, Tottenham were shell-shocked. That's what top teams do, punish mistakes and never let up." On Spurs' brief hope via Son Heung-min's 62nd-minute goal, Owen noted Arsenal's response was immediate and emphatic, with Gabriel Jesus heading in the fourth in the 78th to kill the contest. No panic, no slip-ups, just control and class. This is why they're favourites. He contrasted Tottenham's lackluster display under interim boss Igor Tudor with Arsenal's cohesion under Mikel Arteta, who celebrated wildly on the touchline. Owen concluded the Gunners look unstoppable right now, warning rivals not to expect a collapse. This performance screams champions. 5 points clear, momentum building, quadruple alive, they won't let this slip. His analysis reinforced the narrative of Arsenal's resurgence after recent frustrations. Please like and subscribe.